So guys, the first game we have is a game between Leicester City versus Man City. And Leicester City in the recent game actually had an okay game. Like, Wolves really deserved to win that game in my opinion. But Leicester actually did okay in that game. I think that's something like 5 shots and 4 shots on target and scored all 4 goals. Where Wolves had something like 20 shots and 6 on target and could go 0 goals. And I think Wolves had something like 61% possession where only Leicester had 39%. And I feel like Leicester City really just took their chances. They were very clinical. Yuri Tielemans had a great goal. Arby Barnes had a nice goal. I think Jamie Vardy scored a goal. So I can't really say anything more about that game. Like, Leicester just basically didn't dominate, but dominated in terms of goals. But let's move on to Man City. In the Man City game, they actually, for the first time, Man City didn't have the most amount of possession. Like, every time Man City played, they have like 60%, 50%, even 70%. But in this game, Brighton had something like 52% and Man City had 48%. So it's not that much, but at the end of the day, Man City got it done. Erling Haaland with 2 goals, De Bruyne with 1 goal. They passed the ball around and Erling Haaland is in the right position, so he gets the goals. So, my score prediction for this game, I feel like Man City are going to win this. Even though it's at the King Power Stadium where Leicester are really good, but I'm going to go with the Man City 3-1 victory. The next game we have is a game between Newcastle versus Aston Villa. And Newcastle in the recent game had a 2-1 victory over Tottenham. A lot of people are saying there's a lot of controversy over the first Callum Wilson goal, but I think it should have been disallowed in my opinion. Yes, Hugo Lloris made a huge blunder in my opinion, but it was a foul on him which didn't allow him to get back to the touchline and which allowed Callum Wilson to score the goal. But I don't know, VAR this year has been shambolic, so it could have gone either way. But at the end of the day, Newcastle played really well. And Miguel Almiron, this guy's really taking the Jack Grealish comment too hard, because it's like that Michael Jordan thing. He says, I personally took that. And I feel like Miguel Almiron's done that because he's actually surpassed Jack Grealish in many ways. And Newcastle have just been exceptional. The last 2 games, to play against Man United, where they should have really won, and to go and beat Spurs. And right now, on their 4th position, and they could easily get Champions League. And I think they're going to get Europa League this season. But let's move to Aston Villa. With Aston Villa is a joke, because Steven Gerrard, whenever they're playing with Steven Gerrard, they could see how slow they were. They couldn't convert any chances, and they couldn't play the ball. But as soon as this man gets sacked, they go and play Brentford. Guess what happens? They get a 4-0 victory. And this is the best way I've seen Aston Villa play in a long time. They were so good on the ball, passing the ball through behind, and all the goals were so like, what's the word, carbon copy. The Leon Bailey goal was such a good set piece. To pass, it was like a FIFA goal. And the goal from Danny Ings was incredible. So, I feel like Aston Villa could have really done well under Steven Gerrard. But I think, did he lose the locker room? I think he probably did, and that's what got him sacked. But my score prediction for this game, I feel like Newcastle are going to win this. And I feel like Newcastle are going to win this with a 2-0 victory. The next game we have is a game between Bournemouth versus Tottenham. And Bournemouth currently, as I'm recording, are playing West Ham. So that game could go either way. But let's take the game before that. So the game before that, they had a very close 1-0 loss to Southampton. And I feel like that game would have gone either way. And Bournemouth right now, before, as the time of recording, I think they're like 11th or 12th position, which is not bad for Bournemouth. Like Nottingham Forest recently beat Liverpool, which was a huge one. Bournemouth have been doing okay, and Fulham actually recently got a very good victory against, I forgot who it was. So all the teams which have been promoted have done really well. And Bournemouth, Dominic Solanke is really good, and I think they still have a caretaker manager, and they still haven't got a full-time manager. And they're doing really well. And I think they could actually go and beat West Ham. Like, yes, West Ham's our team at the end of the day, but they could go and get it done against West Ham. But let's move on to Spurs. Spurs in the recent game, poor once again. In the last back-to-back 2 games, they've lost to Man United and Newcastle. Like, the game against Man United, I think they just got dominated in my opinion. Like, United played really well. Casemiro played exceptionally. Everyone played incredible. Great goals from Bruno Fernandes and Fred. And then in this game against Newcastle, they had a lot of chances. Normally, when Tottenham play other teams, they have like low possession, and then they just counter-attack and get goals. But in this game, it was another way around, where Tottenham put all the pressure and Newcastle the one which were counter-attacking, getting the goals. And should have the first goal counted? As I said, it was a very controversial opinion. But at the end of the day, Hugo Lloris had a big blunder. He should have kicked it out. What is he doing? And Callum Wilson was a great goal for him. And Miguel Almiron, great goal. Kane, once again, he's still getting his goals no matter what. Like, and I think he's got like 8 goals right now. And I think he scored in every game, but he missed the Man United game where he couldn't get a goal. But what's my score prediction for this game? So my score prediction for this game, I'm gonna go for the next game we have is a game between Brighton versus Chelsea. And Brighton in the recent game actually had a very poor game against Man City. Even though Brighton dominated possession against Man City, they didn't really convert any chance in my opinion. And Brighton are one of these teams this year could actually get a top 10 above. Roberto Zerbi and his men actually are really good and really comfortable with the ball. Look what they did at Liverpool. Yes, Liverpool are not the best team right now, but Liverpool went out there and beat Man City a week ago or a week and a half ago, and they beat West Ham. Was no easy thing, but at the end of the day, Brighton is all good to have players who are comfortable on the ball, but have to start converting chances. And they're converting chances, but in the last couple of weeks, they really haven't. But let's move on to Chelsea. Chelsea, in the recent games, Man United, I feel like they got very lucky. I don't know what Scott McTominay was doing to Brojan, and they gave a penalty away. But Man United absolutely dominated Stamford Bridge, in my opinion. Like, Chelsea should have dominated that game, and United should have really scored way more opportunities. Like, United did have a lot of possession of the ball, but some of the shots and positioning was quite terrible from us. And that allowed Chelsea to just make sure that they kept on like being in the game. And then the Kovacic's substitution actually kind of helped them. I give props to Graham Potter, because when he bought Kovacic, he actually helped the game a bit more. And everyone remembers was Kovacic running around his underwear, which that was quite funny. After Kovacic came on, he helped them a little bit more, but they didn't really do anything. And then United gave the penalty away. And then luckily, Casemiro with the grey head, and I love the passion. I feel like this game is going to be close, because Chelsea have not really showed anything except the Champions League. They've done really well, but in the Premier League, they've been a bit hit or miss. So I feel like this is going to be a 1-1 draw. So guys, the next game we have is a game between Crystal Palace versus Southampton. And Crystal Palace in the recent game got dominated by Everton. And Everton actually looked decent this season. Like they started the season quite slow. But ever since they signed the two crucial pivots at the back, which is James Tarkowski and Connor Cody, they've been incredible. And the way they dominate Crystal Palace with the 3-0 victory, all the goals were incredible from them. And like Crystal Palace had no answer. Like Crystal Palace only had 1 or 2 chances in that game, which I saw where Eze should have scored maybe, but everything else was all Everton. And I really thought that Crystal Palace could win this game. I think I predicted a draw or like a Crystal Palace win, but I was totally wrong in my opinion. Saying that, Crystal Palace at home are quite decent, and Southampton in the recent game, yes, they had a 1-1 draw to Arsenal, but that game could have easily been an Arsenal victory. I feel like the goalkeeper for Southampton absolutely saved them, and the defense for Southampton came in line for most of the time as well. And the goal from Stuart Armstrong was quite good. The way they played the ball was like the Arsenal defense kind of switched off. But at the end of the day, you can't blame Southampton. Like they fought hard and they got the draw. There should have been 1 point which was given to Arsenal. I feel like Arsenal should have won that game, but we don't complain because Arsenal dropped points. This is great for everyone else who's in the title race, to be fair. So my score prediction for this game, I feel like it's going to be a draw, but I feel like goals are going to go in this game. I feel like it's going to be a 2-2 draw. So guys, let's move on to the next game. So the next game we have a game between Brentford versus Wolves. And Brentford, the recent game, absolutely got smashed against the Aston Villa side with the 4-0 loss. And normally Brentford, they're very solid at the back. They are a very tough team to play. But that game against Aston Villa, I feel like Aston Villa, like quality between the both teams, Aston Villa has better quality. And they really showed that in the game. Like Aston Villa, in the past couple of weeks, have been so like lackluster under Steven Gerrard. It's been like a joke. But ever since that man got sacked, and the new caretaker manager came in, it was always going to be a lose-lose situation for Brentford, because every team, when a manager gets sacked, they want to show that it was the manager's fault and it wasn't the team player's fault. And Aston Villa showed that in convincing fashion. But whereas Wolves 4-0 loss, sorry, I was going to say 4-0 victory, whereas Wolves 4-0 loss against Leicester was actually a tough pill to swallow, in my opinion, for Wolves, because they dominated for 90% of the game with something like 61% possession, where Leicester only had 39, but they just couldn't convert any chances. I think there's something like 20 shots and 8 on target, Wolves, but whereas Leicester had 5 shots and 4 on target and scored all 4 goals. So for Wolves, that would have been a very tough pill to swallow, because they actually put a lot of effort in the game and they just couldn't convert the chances. And I feel like this game against Brentford, against Wolves, I feel like Wolves are going to come all guns blazing, because they want to show that they're actually the team to fuck with, and no team should take them easy, because right now Wolves look like some of the favourites to go down, because they've been piss poor. A lot of players have been injured. So my score prediction for this game, I feel like Wolves will win this game. I think it'll be Shalsbury thing from Wolves with a 1-0 victory. So guys, next game we have is a game between Fulham versus Everton. And I'm telling you, this game is going to be fireworks in my opinion. Fulham in the recent game had a very good win against Leeds. Leeds started off the game very strong, but Fulham made a comeback. And both of the assists from Andres Pereira is incredible. Like, yes, at Man United he didn't do his best, but I feel like Man United was never going to thrive. But at Fulham, the way he's thriving is incredible. And Alexander Mitrovic, this guy is a man to be reckoned with. And Willian had a great goal. And Leeds are no shit team in my opinion. Like Leeds, yes, defensively they're poor, but attackingly, the way they can put passes together is incredible in my opinion. And Fulham to go away at Ellen Road and get a 3-2 victory and an odd 4 victory was incredible. But let's move to Everton. Everton absolutely bossed Crystal Palace, and this is the best Everton I've seen in the last couple of years in my opinion. Like, the way Dominic Calvert-Lewin's comeback and absolutely knocked the defender and to finish far post was unstoppable. And Aaron Gordon to be in the right place in the right time to get a second goal, and the third goal, oh my god, from Dwight McNeil to flick to the way they're being defensively solid is incredible. But I feel like what's going to be the major factor in this game is how good the defense is. And I feel like Everton's defense is better than Fulham's. Like, Fulham's attack is really good, but the defense is quite poor in my opinion. So my score prediction for this game, on the sole purpose that Everton's defense is better, I feel like Everton's going to win this game with a 2-1 victory. So guys, let's move to the final game of Saturday. So the final game of Saturday, a game between Liverpool versus Leeds United. And Liverpool in the recent game had a 1-0 loss to Nottingham Forest. Like, Nottingham Forest have been quite shit this year, but Nottingham Forest are kind of finding the way in the Premier League. Like, all the players are gelling, but in that game Liverpool should have really won. I think Nottingham Forest only had something like 23% possession and Liverpool had something like 67, and Liverpool couldn't just convert any chances at most of the time. Like, Darwin Núñez went sleeping, Mohamed Salah has been sleeping since game week 1, like since the Premier League started, like this season. He hasn't really converted ever since he's got that big 350k contract. Them missing Luis Diaz and Lego Mane is really not open, and it's led to a huge vacuum where who's the playmaker right now? Who's the playmaker in Liverpool? Like, after to go and beat City and to go and lose to Nottingham Forest, the juxtaposition is, let's move to Leeds. Leeds in the recent game had a 3-2 loss to Fulham, and in that game Leeds actually started off really well. And with Leeds attacking, there's no problem, but defensively it's the same problem. New manager, same shit in my opinion. Like, last year defensively with set pieces they were shit, and this year with crosses they cannot stop crosses. The goal from Harrison Reed and from Mitrovic was 2 crosses, and 2 great crosses from Andres Pereira, but all the players are just sleeping. You need to be on your man. But this game between Liverpool versus Leeds, I feel like it's going to be a good one, because Leeds are trying to bounce back and Liverpool are trying to bounce back. But the games at Anfield, and Liverpool at Anfield are quite decent because they beat West Ham and Anfield last Wednesday. So my score prediction for this game, I feel like Liverpool are going to win this with a 2-1 victory. Guys, next game we have is a game between Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest. And Arsenal in the recent game had a 1-1 draw against Southampton. But any other day, Arsenal would have won that game. I'm telling you, 7 out of 10 times Arsenal would have won that game. I think 2 of the times where it would have been a draw, and 1 of the 10 times would have been a Southampton win. Arsenal in the game absolutely dominated for most of the game in my opinion. Like, from start to finish it was all Arsenal domination. But Arsenal switched off for 1 minute and Southampton took the chances. But Arsenal, Gabriel Jesus should have at least scored 2 goals. A lot of them had a lot of opportunities, but the Southampton goalkeeper made himself big and had a lot of crucial saves to make at the end of the day. And I feel like some of the finishing from Gabriel Jesus and the shot taking was quite the goalkeeper. But as I say this, Nottingham Forest, even though they beat Liverpool in the recent game, and they're kind of finding the ways, and the team's really gelling, and Stephen Cooper's doing a decent job. But I'm telling you, Arsenal's going to win this game. Yes, Nottingham Forest is going to have a big morale boost coming off this, being a Liverpool side who last year came second, recently Man City. But Arsenal just levels it against Liverpool. And I feel like what Liverpool make mistakes, Arsenal want to make this mistake. And Arsenal and the Emirates are just incredible this year. So I'm going to go for a battering. I feel like Arsenal are going to win this game 3-0 or 4-0. Guys, let's move to the final game of game week 14. It's a game between Man United versus West Ham. And Man United in the recent couple of games, they've actually been playing really well. And the passion which we showed when we got the draw against Chelsea was so good. And the way that Anthony gave that shit to Jorginho, this is the Man United passion which Roy Keane's asking for. And we played incredible in that game, and we got very unlucky. Like, Scott McTominay, I'm not gonna shit on him, but he made 1 lapse of judgment and gave the penalty away. It was a very good penalty from Jorginho. Jorginho and his penalties are just so unstoppable in my opinion. But as I say this, the game against Tottenham, it was so good. The way we dominate Tottenham and Antonio Conte's system, which is really hard to break down, and the way we broke the team down is incredible. But West Ham's going to be a tough game in my opinion, because West Ham, last year to this year, they have made some incredible signings. Gianluca Scamacca is really good. Like, yes, he's not found his way yet, but he's been scoring like goals here and there. But this is adding to a team with already had Said Benrahma, Jared Bowen, Soufal, Soucek, and the sound the Paqueta guy, who's not been firing in the Premier League but has been doing exceptional in the Europa League. So in this game, I feel like Man United will win, but I feel like West Ham are going to put us through the trenches to get this win. It's going to be a game like we played against Southampton early in the season, where Southampton put us in the trenches, or like Leicester, where Leicester put us in the trenches, but we came out with a victory. I feel like it's going to be a close 1-0 victory to Man United, but we're going to go to the fucking trenches to get this victory against West Ham. Everyone put a comment section below, and I have to appreciate everyone who clicked on the recent Game Week 13 prediction. You need to go 300 views, and that's a big thing for me. Guys, please like, subscribe, comment, do the usual, and I'll see you later. Peace.